used in daily life. Here is Nathan Shedroff.
My co-author, Chris Nossel, and I have spent the last 5 years investigating science fiction, television, and films with the intent of finding lessons that real-world developers and engineers and designers can use to improve their products and services, and I'm here to share a few of those with you this morning, just a few. Science fiction and design are sort of locked in this reciprocal relationship of influence, where, for instance, production designers or directors will see something in the real world like this art installation from Damien Hirst, and they'll be inspired to use it in their films, whether it's a straight copy or whether it's an homage, like in this beautiful scene from The Cell. More interestingly, the world of science fiction is actually having an impact on the products and services that we use every day, because it's influencing engineers and developers and even investors. Like in one of my favorite examples, this is a scene from the end of the X-Men movie, where they're sitting around what is called a sand table in defense speak, planning their attack. And an engineer from the Department of Defense was actually at this movie with his son, went back to work, wrote an RFP to create a device like this, referenced this scene in the movie, so this scene is referenced in a DoD RFP, and ended up hiring a company to build this, which is a light-year transformation forward of what are still called sand tables in the business. This one has a couple improvements. They have a vacuum-sealed membrane over the top of what is essentially a pin table, and they're able to project real-time data at any scale, of any place, including places like Mars, to do planning. Came right from science fiction. And it's really no accident that 30 years to the year, you can see the dates up at the top if you can read them, from Star Trek and their communicator, we get the StarTAC flip phone, right? Get it? StarTAC. And this is because designers and engineers, in fact, on the Motorola project, referenced going up and seeing this flip phone, this flip communicator, when they were children. So it's clearly influencing the development of items and even gets referenced. And you could sort of say that this was a product that was product tested for about 30 years in the hearts and minds and expectations of us as an audience, because we knew exactly what to do with it as soon as it came out, and it felt natural because we'd been seeing them for essentially 30 years. This is another great example. In Star Wars, the holography, whenever two people are communicating, is almost always referenced in scale. So here, who's most important in the room? Well, that's the Emperor, of course. So he's this big disembodied head. But over on the Jedi side, they don't have a socially hierarchical community. So when they're meeting and using holography to plan and talk, etc., they're all represented at same scale. That's their social hierarchy. So this is a lesson that any of you that design communications interfaces, whether it's FaceTime or iChat or Skype, can use in your work to scale, either to transgress or to play with or to honor the social hierarchy of the people who are meeting. Here's another example from The Fifth Element, where Zorg is choking on a cherry pit, and he's pounding on his little keypad controller, and it's a dumb interface. It's just blindly doing everything that every key is supposed to do, but it's missing the larger message, which is send help. To contrast this, in 2001, we have exactly the same thing. This little girl is going to pound on the keypad with her right hand, and it doesn't interrupt what is a very expensive call to her father who's orbiting the Earth. And we've used the religious discipline of apologetics to say, even when we find mistakes in filming, which is, we're presuming this is, there's still a valuable lesson that can come out of this. Also from The Fifth Element, we have a case where this 5,000-year-old weapon has not been used in 5,000 years, and the instruction manuals are sort of lost. And they have to be embodied in the physical interface of the thing itself in order to teach people how to use it. And this is a real-world problem, because there's a nuclear waste repository in Finland that has a 100,000-year lifespan. Where else but science fiction do you turn for design lessons to design these things? In contrast, this poor novice from the mini-film Lifted is out on his first mission, and he's got a control system that's a little bit hard to use and a little bit difficult to learn. I'm going to turn to this example really quickly to make the point that science fiction isn't just fun, and it's certainly not frivolous. It's an innovation tool. It's an educational one. And it works with design because it turns out most of design is fiction. Until something actually makes it to market, it's been fiction. And it turns out that much of business is fiction, too. We just don't want people to realize it. So we found lots of lesson opportunities in learning and communications and even sex, but I'll leave that to Ted after hours. I just want to leave you with the idea that we're documenting, and other people are documenting, science fiction used as an innovation process. If you have scenes or favorite episodes that you want to send us, the database should be up in a couple months. And we have a colleague even in Palo Alto that's building curriculum for junior high and high school around using science fiction so kids can literally start building and imagining their future while they're learning. So science fiction is part of your life. It's already here. We should embrace it. Thank you.
And then sometimes interfaces break down, and